Hello, everyone. How are you? Good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. I hope you're having a wonderful day so far, wonderful afternoon or wonderful evening. It's in the middle of the afternoon where I live in Washington, D.C. So I'm so excited to be here with you today, and thank you so much, Kate, for having me to chat with you today about this practice of meditation and how it transformed my fertility journey. As Kate said, my name is Stephanie Roth. I'm a fertility coach, and I really do work with people on physical aspects of improving your health and wellness, nutrition, and that sort of thing. But my real area of interest, my main area of interest, is mindset on this very complicated path. And incorporating a meditation practice into your journey to help improve your mindset and help you have a healthy mindset to guide you on your journey. And so that's, I work with people on those topics primarily. So thank you so much, Kate, for having me. I want to do a few things, but before I say anything about anything, I want to just thank you again for being here with me. I want to share with you that today, March 29th, is a very, very, very special day for me. Kate and I first spoke about a month ago about me coming to chat with you about meditation and fertility. And the options were that I would either come kind of sometime during this week or sometime in May. And I was really cool with either one. But when I got out the calendar and saw that this week included today, March 29th, I messaged Kate and just said that today had to be the day, if that was at all possible. And I'll tell you why. 4 years ago today, March 29th, 2013, I went to my RE's office for an IUI procedure. It was my fourth IUI. And after that IUI, I was going to be moving on to IVF and points beyond in my journey. And I had my IUI on March 29th. And 2 weeks later, on April 12th, I went back to the RE's office for my blood work. And I found out that I was pregnant. And I had a really good beta. So about 2.5 weeks after that, on April 30th, I turned 43 years old. And my son was born the following December. So today is the anniversary of the day that I got pregnant with my son. So I just couldn't think of anything that I would rather do today on this very special day than to come and talk to you about how this practice transformed my fertility journey. So thank you so, so much for being with me. So I'm going to do a few things. I have some notes here because I don't want to forget anything. I'm going to do a few things. I'm going to share a little bit about my journey through fertility. You've already heard how it ended, but I'm going to share kind of how I got to that point and how the meditation and mindset practice helped me. So I'll share a little bit about that, and then that'll probably be the lion's share of my talk. But then after that, I have a few tips if you're interested in incorporating meditation or mindset practice into your own journey or your life. I have some tips on how you can get started doing that. And then I'll share a few resources with you. And then we can have time for, hopefully I tend to ramble, so I'm going to try to keep it really brief. So hopefully we'll have time for some questions or discussion at that point. I'm happy to answer any questions that you have as best I can. And then I really want to leave time for the meditation at the end. The meditation is actually about between 8 and 9 minutes, depending on how fast I go. So I really want to make sure we leave time for that. So with no further ado, I'll go ahead and get started. So my journey through fertility, as you've already heard, I did get pregnant by IUI, my fourth IUI cycle, a month before my 43rd birthday. My journey actually started 13 months before that in February of 2012. I was 41, almost 42. My husband and I had been married for about 4 years, and we figured, well, I guess it's time to start trying to have kids. We probably realized it was probably past that time, but we were like, well, let's go ahead and get started. We got pregnant the second month trying in March of 2012, right out of the gate, second month starting. We were so excited. We were over the moon. I couldn't believe how easy it was. And then we went to the doctor in May, about 7 weeks later. We went to the doctor for our first OB appointment, ultrasound. to check on everything. And we discovered that there was no heartbeat and the embryo had stopped developing and we had lost the pregnancy and I had a miscarriage. And I was pretty devastated. And that was when I learned that, well, maybe it really isn't quite as easy as I thought to get pregnant and have a baby. So I recovered from the miscarriage. It took a few months, but once, my period came back and my ovulation seemed to come back, we started trying again. We took 2 or 3 months of trying unsuccessfully. And at that point, about 6 months into my fertility, since we'd started trying, we went for fertility testing. And everything came back great for my husband, normal, everything was all good for him. The problem was with me. And my tests came back and my FSH level was elevated. It was 16.4. And I knew that was high, but I was like, well, okay, it's not horrible, I can work with that. But then my AMH test came back and that was really, 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 really low. It was 0.15. So, which even for a woman my age was just extremely low. And that was really bad, and I knew it was bad. And I was pretty devastated by that. And my doctor said, based on my test results, that he predicted I had less than a 2% chance of getting pregnant with my own eggs and recommended that we pursue donor egg IVF. So after a little bit of reflection and a little bit of soul searching, I took about a week or so after we got those pretty dismal results. And I just, decided that I didn't want to, even if I would end up needing donor egg IVF, I just didn't really want to go there right out of the gate. I wanted to try to start, with less invasive options. I wanted to try IUI first. I'm in the U.S., was paying for everything out of pocket, so it was less costly, and and I just wanted to try to start less invasive if I could. So I presented that idea to my doctor. And thankfully, he was supportive. He said, okay, if you want to do that, if you want to start with IUI, I support that. Inwardly, he might have been saying, yeah, that's not going to work. But outwardly, his demeanor with me was that, he supported that and we could go ahead with that. And I'm really thankful for that. So we started IUI treatments, and I had my first one, and I got a positive, another positive, and another loss. It ended up being a chemical pregnancy. So I had another loss. And the second IUI was a negative. And so I went in for what would have been the third IUI, and my baseline ultrasound showed that I had all kinds of cysts, and then my blood work came back and it said that my hormones were all crazy. So long story short, my doctor basically said, you need to take this month off. My cycle was canceled. And I was just like, great, I'm just getting started with this, and IUI is pretty low tech. I mean, I'm not even really doing like a big high-tech fertility procedure, and I'm having trouble just even handling this. I'm like, great. So I had to take the month off, and I was kind of bummed. And then the next month rolled around, and when I got my period, I looked at the calendar, and I was like, oh crap, I have to travel. I'm not going to be able to be here for like the key monitoring days. So I had to take another month off. And then the next month came, and I got my period. I looked at the calendar again, and it was Christmas. And we were going away for Christmas, and we'd be away during, again, all the key monitoring days. So it ended up being like 3 months until I was back in the RE's office for another treatment cycle. And during that time, I mean, it was sort of an imposed upon me break that I didn't want. But I ended up using the time very judiciously. I spent a lot of time in reflection and thinking about my journey so far. And I'm like, okay, I've had 2 pregnancies, 2 losses. I've done all these things. I've improved my diet. I've started, I already had a pretty robust yoga practice, but I'm doing more yoga. I'm doing more exercise. I'm sleeping better. I've done all these things. So, what do I stay the course, or what do I need to do to, do I need to do something else to kind of increase my chances of getting pregnant? I already knew that kind of I had the odds stacked against me with age and my test results and everything, but, is there something else that I can do? And I sat in silence at yoga class. I, again, had been practicing yoga for about 15 years at that point, so I had a very robust yoga practice, and so I was very practiced at kind of sitting in silence and kind of waiting for guidance to come to me. And the answers are all within us. And it did. I finally came to a realization that I had done a great job with improving my physical health, but that I had ignored my mind. And my body and my mind were horribly disconnected. And until I connected the two in a better way, there was no way that I was going to get pregnant. And so when I kind of realized this, I sat back and I kind of started to think about what all that meant, really, the power of my mind. And I started listening. We have conversations in our heads every day, all day, every day. We're always giving ourselves messages. We're always talking to ourselves. And I started listening to the messages that I gave myself in my head. And I'll share a few of them with you now. I wrote them down. So these are some of the messages that I gave myself at that point on my journey. You're too old. Your eggs, what's left of them, are dried up. You really screwed up by not doing this sooner. Of course, you're going to be the one with crappy fertility test results. Why me? And my personal favorite, you're just not meant to be a mother. So those are the things that I was telling myself up until this point on my path. Things that I would never, ever say to my friend, my sister. I would never say to anybody who means anything to me, or even somebody who doesn't mean anything to me. We would never say these things to another person. But I was giving those messages and telling those things to myself on a regular basis every day. So I ask you, is it any surprise to any of you that with messages like this floating around in my head on a regular basis, is it a surprise to any of you that I was approaching my journey every month from a place of fear and desperation? Every month I was thinking to myself, oh God, I hope it works this month. Or, oh God, what am I going to do if this cycle doesn't work? What am I going to do if I don't get a positive pregnancy test? What am I going to do? How am I going to live if I don't have a baby? That is a place of fear. And that is not a place of confidence or faith or trust. And it is my opinion that the faith and the trust and the surrender to the process is crucial to success on this path. And I just knew in my head, once I started paying attention to these messages that I was giving myself, I just knew that until I changed this, I was never going to have success. I might not have success anyway because I was, older and my test results weren't great. But without the mind part, I knew that I would never have success under any circumstances. So I knew that I had to change this. So I set about trying to figure out how to do that. And it's not like I woke up one day and decided, I think I'll take up meditation to improve my fertility. That's not how it happened. It was very much more organic than that. I'll share with you that in the past, I had used the power of storytelling to help me push through fears and manifest things that I wanted in my life when I was younger. So I'll spare you the details, but just suffice it to say that I had done this before when I was like 14 and 16, in high school. I was always a writer, so it just felt very natural for me to write a story. And I would write a story, and I would record myself reading the story. And of course, the story was exactly what I wanted in my life, whatever it was. And I would record myself reading the story, and then I would just listen to it over and over and over when I was younger. And I had great results. I almost always was able to manifest, what I wanted. I would listen to the story over and over when I was falling asleep at night. So fast forward 25, 30 years later, and I hadn't thought about this in years. I kind of remembered, the stories that I used to write. And I was just like, well, why don't I try that for fertility? Why don't I do one of my stories? What do I have to lose? So I sat down and I wrote a story about myself, and it's not a long story. I wrote a story about myself getting pregnant and having a baby. And I recorded myself on my phone with the little voice memo function on my phone. I recorded myself reading the story. And I included a little affirmation at the end, you'll get pregnant, you'll have a baby. And I recorded all of this, and I would listen to it on my phone. I, at the time, was working full-time and had a 45-minute commute on a bus, and so I would just pop in my earbuds on the bus, and I would just listen over and over and over. I'd close my eyes, and I'd kind of get centered with breathing, and I would just listen over and over and over to the story of me getting pregnant and having a baby. Then I started my IUI cycles again. I had resumed treatment at this point, and then when I started my cycle, I took the story a step further by adding to it every day, including information from my doctor's appointments. So, for example, if I would go to the doctor and he would say, oh, you have 3 follicles, 2 on the left, 1 on the right. The ones on the left are 15 millimeters. The one on the right is 13 millimeters. Well, I'd write all that down. And I'd go home and I'd re-record my story, including that information. And I'd listen to it over and over and over again on the bus, while I'm falling asleep at night. One day when I was at the DMV, the Department of Motor Vehicles, just listening to my story. Then the next day I'd go to the doctor again. My follicles have grown. They're now 17 millimeters on the left and 14 millimeters on the right. And then the ultrasound technician said, oh, they look great. So guess what? I'd write all that down, and I'd go home and I'd update my story with the new information. And of course I would include that everything looked great, because that's what the ultrasound technician had said. And I would again listen to it over and over and over while I was falling asleep at night, while I was on the bus, while I was out for a walk. You know, anytime I had a quiet moment to just check in with myself, I would be listening to my story and listening to the affirmations that I would put at the end that I was going to get pregnant and have a baby. So when I did this when I was 14, I didn't really know that what I was doing was a form of meditation. But it is, because meditation, what meditation is a practice of training your mind and reprogramming your subconscious. And through this story with these positive outcome and the affirmations that I put at the end, I was reprogramming the messages that I was giving my subconscious. So I wasn't telling myself anymore, you're too old, your eggs aren't good, you're not meant to be a mother. I was telling myself, you will be a mother. Your follicles look great. Your follicles are growing beautifully. Everything is happening just the way it's supposed to. And those were the messages that I was giving myself. So I did these stories during the last 2 IUI cycles that I did. And I really started to notice a shift in myself. I started noticing that I was feeling more comfortable in my skin, more comfortable in my journey. And I also noticed that I was much more grounded within myself. And I was no longer dwelling on the past. I wasn't dwelling over the fact that I was 42. I wasn't dwelling over the fact that my AMH level was really low. I wasn't dwelling over the fact that my doctor thought I should do donor egg IVF. And I wasn't obsessing about the future either. I wasn't obsessing over what happens if this doesn't work. I was firmly grounded in the present moment of my cycle that I was in at that time and my growing follicles. And in the end, the present moment is all that we have. The past has already happened and it's done with, and the future is an unknown and it hasn't happened yet. The present moment is all that we have. So on my last IUI cycle, I was doing my story. And another great thing about doing this is it really forced me to pay attention to what my doctor was saying during my monitoring appointments and to ask questions because I wanted information for my story. So it really, really facilitated me being an active participant in my care and really being up on, kind of what was going on in my body and with my cycles, and really kind of teaming up with my doctor. So on my 4th IUI cycle, I did my story again and included all the information. And I remember the last monitoring appointment that I had before I did my trigger shot. I go in, the ultrasound technician cannot contain her enthusiasm on how my follicles look, how my ultrasound looks. And she just kept saying, they're beautiful, they're beautiful. And she said, you are ready. So guess what? I went home and I updated my story, re-recorded my story, and my final affirmation, I just kept saying over and over to myself, you are ready. you are ready. That night I took my trigger shot. 2 days later, as you know, March 29th, 2013, I had my IUI, and now I have my son. So this practice of mindfulness, of mindset, of reprogramming my subconscious totally transformed my journey. It enabled me to be grounded in the present moment. It enabled me to let go and surrender to the process and trust in the process, trust in my doctor, trust in the divine knowing that motherhood was around the corner for me and that I would be successful on my journey. So, and that to me is just what is critical on this path. I think it's important to eat a healthy diet and to move your body and to exercise and sleep well and take your prenatals. That is all so, so, so important, because that nourishment for your physical body is what is going to give you the strength to keep going and to facilitate that mindset work that's so important for success. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. This journey, this practice completely transformed my journey. I know it has the power to do it for you too. If this is interesting to you, if incorporating meditation and mindset work into your fertility journey or your life journey really is something that you're interested in, I have some tips on how you can get started. And I'm going to consult my notes here to make sure I don't miss anything. But I have like 4 or 5 kind of tips for just sort of bringing mindset work and meditation into your life. First, I would suggest that you start small. So right off the top, you're probably not going to be doing, 30-minute meditations, complicated visualizations right off the bat. This is a practice. It is something that you acquire. It is something that you learn how to do, and it's best to start small. So you can start with 5 minutes a day and do that for a week. And then after a week, maybe you can go up to 5 minutes and 30 seconds, or maybe 6 minutes, and just be very, very, very gradual and start small. And start by focusing on your breath. There are lots of different types of ways to meditate. There's no right or wrong way to meditate. And a conception that I had for many years about meditation was that it's, sitting very straight and tall in lotus position with your hands in a mudra and chanting in Sanskrit, very foreign to me. But it's, there's so many different ways to meditate. You can meditate while walking, you can do visualization, you can just do, breathing, really the common core element to any way that you choose to check in with yourself, which is basically what meditation is. It's checking in with yourself. The common element to any way that you choose to do that is through the breath. So it's very important to focus on the breath, just breathing in, breathing out, and just watching the breath. And your mind, if it wanders as you're breathing, which it will, it's very easy to get caught up in, oh my God, I'm not supposed to be thinking about anything, I'm just supposed to be breathing. It's just to let it go. If you have a thought about your grocery list, just acknowledge it and then let it go and return to your breath. So that's tip number 1, to start small, just a few minutes a day, and focusing on your breath. So tip number 2 is to be consistent. So meditation is a practice. It is something that you learn how to do. And as any practice, you do have to practice. So I recommend, doing your practice at the same time every day. Lots of people like to do it when they wake up in the morning. It helps set intentions for the day. For me, I am more of a morning person, but for me, I always found that doing it at night, at the end of the day, while I was getting ready to fall asleep, is always what worked better for me. So whatever works for you, but the key is to be consistent at the same time every day. You can even have a dedicated place in your home, so that you are going to the same space every day at the same time for your meditation practice, and that starts to tell your body that this is becoming it connects it to being a habit for you. So be consistent. So tip number 3 is to do, if you can, to the extent that you're able, in addition to your 5-minute meditation practice that you do at the same time every day, try to check in with yourself during the day, at various points during the day. Check in with yourself, see how you're doing, see how you're feeling, see where you're at. And it's a great exercise for just kind of getting back to center and getting that centering and grounding back within you. So for me, I already shared that I would kind of do my practice, my big practice, when I was falling asleep at night. But during the day, I would regularly check in with myself. I've already shared I had my time on the bus where I'd listen to my story. One day when I was at the motor vehicles, I had like a half an hour wait. So I popped in my earbuds and listened to my story. So if you have those just few random minutes, that random time during the day to just, and again, it doesn't have to be any big, long, protracted exercise, just a few minutes, just sit with yourself. If you work in an office, maybe you could just shut your door for 5 minutes at lunchtime or before lunch, and just shut your door and just sit with yourself with your eyes shut and just breathe and just check in with yourself. It's very rejuvenating and really, revitalizing for the rest of the day. So if you have those opportunities during the day to just sort of check in with yourself, I highly recommend it if you can. And finally, I recommend that you, in kind of developing your meditation practice, that you experiment to see what works for you. This is your practice. As I've said before, there's no right way or wrong way to meditate. And there's so many different ways you can do it. If you want to sit in lotus with your hands in the mudra and chant in Sanskrit, that's awesome. If you want to go out for a walk and have a walking time for you to check in with yourself while you're walking, that's terrific too. The personalized story might not resonate with you as it did for me. So I encourage you to just experiment and see, what resonates with you, what speaks to you. Do you like to be sitting up? Do you like to be laying down? Do you like to have music? Do you like to have silence? Do you just like to just relax and just kind of do a general relaxation of your body? Do you like to do visualization? There's so many possibilities, and so it behooves us all to just explore and see what works for us. I personally love the visualization exercises. All the meditations that I write, I try to incorporate those. The one that we're going to do today actually does not include a visualization. The longer version of it does, which is on my website. So, the longer version does include a visualization, but in the interest of time for today, I just, wanted to shorten it a little bit, and I took the visualization part out. But that's actually something that I really like. So again, just kind of experiment and explore. You can download different meditations online and just listen and just see, what you like. Because again, this is your practice, so make it your own. So those are kind of my tips. Again, start small, focus on your breathing, because that is the common element to any meditation. Any meditation practice starts with the breath. Be consistent, practice every day. Even if you just have a few minutes a day, it's a few minutes well spent. Try to check in with yourself throughout the day in addition to your kind of official meditation practice, and to make the practice your own by experimenting and finding what works for you. So let's see. If you wanted to incorporate a meditation practice into your life or your fertility journey, there are a lot of resources out there that can help you do this. Just off the top of my head, one of the most fantastic resources I can think of is Circle and Bloom. Circle and Bloom produces meditation products for fertility They're fantastic. They're fabulous. I personally did not use them during my journey. As you've already heard, I created my own. So I actually didn't even know that Circle and Bloom existed 5 years ago. I've since checked them out. They're super. They're fantastic. So there's some great off-the-shelf products right there that you can check out. If you are interested in checking out Circle and Bloom, or if you already have some Circle and Bloom meditations and you want more, I'm an affiliate for Circle and Bloom. I have a discount code that I'll put it in the comments, Stephanie Roth 20 for 20% off Circle and Bloom products. I don't get any kind of commission from that. It's just simply a gift of savings that I'm happy to pass along. So that's a great way that you can check out Circle and Bloom for a discount. Circle and Bloom is a fantastic resource. I actually have started developing and producing meditations also. The one that we are going to do today is on my website at yourfertileself.com. And I'm working on some others that will be available very, very soon. So, if you wanted to check those out, that's possible too. If you're interested in the story meditation, I actually developed those, like the one I did for myself. I now develop those for other people. If that's something that you think you'd like to try or would be intriguing to you, if that's interesting to you, I'm actually a member of this group, so you can tag me in a post, or you can email me or message me, or you can find me over at my own fertility support group, Path to Your Fertile Self. You can get in touch with me and we can certainly talk about that. The custom story was really, really instrumental for me. So I'm really excited to be able to help give that gift to others. So there's also YouTube videos, apps. If you prefer, more in-person interaction, your community might have meditation groups, meditation communities. I live in Washington, D.C., where there's a very robust meditation community. So there are tons of different groups and forums where you can go, every Wednesday night or something and have a group meditation. Your community might offer something like that as well if you'd like to have the, in-person experience as well as the virtual. So there's tons and tons and tons of resources out there to help you get started and really start to harness the power of your mind. Our minds are so powerful. So, this is a great tool to help you harness that power of your mind to, tap into your fertility and help to find it's another tool that you have in your arsenal to help you find success on your path. So I think that's it for me as far as, I think I said everything I wanted to say. So I'd love to open it up at this point for questions or comments if anyone has any. I'm happy to answer any questions as best I can. I think I'm getting into the comments now. And so we can have a little discussion if we'd like. For a few moments, and then we can move into the meditation. So if anyone has any questions, please feel free, or any comments, observations, feel free to write them in the comments box. Questions? Anyone? Comments? Is anyone currently doing any sort of meditation or mindset work? And if so, how are you finding that as an experience for you? All right, well, if nobody has any questions, I guess we can just move right into the meditation then. So this meditation is normally done laying down. I thought today it would just be easier, since we're all kind of in front of our computers, we can just stay seated in our chairs. So, and the other thing, if you wanted to have paper and pen, oh, thank you, Kate. So Kate says she uses the Headspace app but struggles to do it regularly. What would you recommend? Well, that's a great question, Kate, because that is probably the biggest struggle with meditation or with any sort of practice, is practicing. I mentioned to you before that I practice yoga and have a very robust yoga practice. And I am currently not going to classes right now and haven't been to a class in ages, and am really struggling to keep up with my practice at home. And I would be lying if I told you that I still meditated every day, because I don't. So it is definitely the hardest thing is maintaining the practice. Again, I think just having that focus in that dedicated time every day, it's almost like making an appointment. I kind of tend to find that things aren't really real until they're scheduled. You know, how many times do you get together with a friend and you say, or you bump into a friend and you say, oh, we should meet for lunch, and then it never happens because nobody ever schedules it. So, and it's kind of the same thing. I struggle with this with exercise because I don't really enjoy exercising. You know, I say I'm going to get up every day and go to the gym, and I never do. Until I actually schedule it and sort of make it official, just like you have time to go to work, or time to you know, run to the store. You know, nothing's really real until it's scheduled. So I really just having that, figuring out when that dedicated time is going to be, and then scheduling it. And then it's like having an appointment with yourself. And we all like to keep our appointments. So just really having that focus and that dedicated time and actually scheduling it makes it really real, makes it official, and it makes it a lot easier to kind of keep that regular practice going. Oh, this is a great question from Royzen. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing your name correctly. How do you think you can use the meditation to strengthen yourself against the sometimes negative onslaught about age? Well, yeah, all the medical staff seem to constantly go on about your age as if you don't know how old you are. Well, this is something that I dealt with as well. I mean, I already shared with you, I was 42 when I was trying to conceive. I was almost a month before my 43rd birthday when I finally got pregnant. My age was on my mind all the time. And thankfully, my medical staff was not super negative about that. They were pretty positive, but it was all me. I was convinced, again, one of the messages that I gave myself was that I was too old. And it can be really defeating. And I finally just came to a realization that, okay, I'm 42. I can't control the fact that I'm 42. I cannot turn the clock back and no longer be 42. I'm 42. This is it. And I realized that I couldn't control that. I couldn't control my age. I couldn't control the fact that I'd had these horrible test results, you know, that gave me a diminished ovarian reserve diagnosis. I couldn't control any of that. But I could control the way I chose to live my life. I could control the way I ate. I could control how I moved my body. I could control how I managed my stress. I could control how I interacted with other people and how I showed up in the world. And so that mindset work, I really, again, once I figured out that these messages that I was giving myself was totally in my control and that there was something that I could change, then that was something that I was going to set out to do, and I was going to change it. So, and the meditation and the visualization exercises that I did, you know, that's just a great tool to help you do that. It's a fantastic tool to have in your arsenal to help you on this fight, to help you on this path. Out of all the things that you cannot control, you know, these are the things that you can control. And these are the tools that can help you to take that control. So, so yeah, I wish you well. I hope that this helps. I hope that the meditation helps you. Again, it's a way that we can take control over our own path. So I think I'm going to go ahead and, excuse me, I'm going to try not to cough while we're doing the meditation. And then we'll go ahead and get started. The meditation, like I said, it's about 8 or 9 minutes. You're welcome, sweetie. The meditation's about 8 or 9 minutes. It is available on my website. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to read through the meditation. The meditation that's on my site is, kind of set to music, and it's, very polished, and I'd certainly invite you to go to yourfertileself.com. I'll put in a link, and you can listen to it there, at a later time. And again, there will be others. I'll have others there as well. This is a meditation that's about being comfortable in your body and having a great love and appreciation for your body. So I think on this path, it's so easy to feel like you're at war with your body because your body's not doing what you want it to do. I used to curse my old broken down body. That was another message, not one of the messages I wrote down for you today, but that's another message that I gave myself, was that I had an old broken down body. It's so easy to feel like you're at war with your body on this path. And I really think it's so important to remember that our bodies are like our haven. It's our sanctuary. This is where we live on a very spiritual, cellular level. This is where we live, and it's where we're going to live our entire lives. And our bodies are wonderful, amazing machines that breathe for us and pump blood for us and keep us healthy and keep us alive. And our bodies love us and do wonderful things for us. Maybe not all the wonderful things we want them to do all the time, but our bodies are wonderful, and they love us, and we should give them the love back that they deserve. So that is the purpose of this meditation. I think we'll go ahead. I'll just give you a few seconds to get comfortable. If you would like to have a pen and paper nearby so that afterwards, if you want to write down anything that comes up for you during the meditation, any thoughts that you might have, you'll have your pen and paper there ready to do that. So I also suggest you turn off your phones so they don't ring. If you've got like sound dingies on your computer, you just can silence those. And just get comfortable. Again, this is for the purposes of today. We'll just stay seated in your chair. So just start to get comfortable. This is about your 30-second warning. We'll get started in about 30 seconds. And just close your eyes and start to breathe. And I'm going to pull up my script. And I'm going to try not to cough. I'm really having trouble with my throat today. The purpose of this meditation is to promote a sense of overall calm, peace, and comfort in your body, and appreciation for your fertile body. There is no right or wrong way to meditate. Whatever you experience during this meditation is right for you and is what you need at this time. Don't try to make anything happen, just observe. If you find your mind wandering, as it will, simply acknowledge the thought, then let it go, and come back to the breath. Keep your eyes closed for the entire meditation. Feel the grounding of your body in your chair. Uncross your legs. Keep your arms at your sides. Relax all of your muscles from your head all the way to your toes. Let go. Come to your breath. Notice how your breath flows as you inhale and exhale. Make no effort to change your breathing in any way. Simply notice how your body breathes. Feel the tension leave your body with each exhalation. Use your breath as an anchor to ground yourself into the now. With your mind's eye, see your body. See your feet, your toes, your legs, your hips, your torso, back and chest, your abdomen, your arms, hands, and fingers. See your shoulders, your neck, your face, your ears, your hair. Marvel at how beautiful and perfect you are. Continue to observe your breath. Inhale, exhale. See your skin, soft and supple, your outer layer that covers your entire body, covers your soul. Watch your skin breathe with you. Say thank you to your skin for protecting the rest of your body and your inner being. Now go inside your body. Take a tour of your internal organs and observe them keeping you alive every second of every day. Look at your heart, pumping fresh, vibrant red blood to deliver to the rest of your body. Hear your heartbeat and feel its rhythm. Say thank you to your heart. Observe your lungs, bright pink, giving vital oxygen to the rest of your body, expanding and relaxing with each breath. Say thank you to your lungs. Watch your liver, breaking down the food you eat into nutrients that nourish you, cleaning your blood and flushing toxins from your body. Your liver is a workhorse. Say thank you to your liver. See your ovaries, making the crucial hormones that help your beautiful eggs grow. The eggs that contain your genetic information to pass along to the next generation. Watch your ovaries, releasing an egg for you each and every month. An egg that has the potential of becoming half of a new human being. Say thank you to your ovaries. Look at your uterus, your womb, the seat of new life within you. Its thick, healthy lining waiting with open arms to welcome an embryo, to envelop your future baby with nourishment. Your baby's first home. Say thank you to your uterus. Notice connecting with your body as an act of self-care. Feel the love emanating from your inner body. Say thank you to your entire body. Now, as you inhale, say to yourself, I am fertile. As you exhale, say, I will be a mother. Inhale, I am fertile. Exhale, I will be a mother. Inhale, I am fertile. Exhale, I will be a mother. Inhale, I am fertile. Exhale, I will be a mother. I'm going to leave you here now for a few moments without the sound of my voice. Continue to breathe, feeling and rejoicing in the love of your body and your future baby. Keeping your eyes closed, begin to notice the sounds around you. Feel your clothes against your body and your contact with the chair.